Hi everyone, we're here with Mike Beygelman, fresh off of his finals appearance at the 3v3 event at Endangered Hobbies in Natick this past weekend. Why don't you let us know what you played?
I played Salad, man. It's the best deck.
All right, cool. Well, we can get right into the list.
Cool. For starters, I played 280 Debug, and I also played 2 Format Skipper, and the 3 cards that Format Skipper searches, which are 3 Parallel Exceeds. I do not play Buffalo. I think Buffalo is a little bit like the Emperor has no clothes. People play it because other people play it. I choose not to play it. Debug gets me a guaranteed Gazelle. Format Skipper guarantees me a Parallel Exceed most of the time. And Format Skipper also has another really cool effect where you could reveal a card in your extra deck, and it will copy its name, its attribute, and its type. And this comes in really handy for making like a relinked wolf without using a wolf, or making a relinked Heatwheel without using a Heatwheel. So I thought the card was really good. For actual Salad cards, I played 1 Gazelle, and her primary function in my deck was to send purple cards to the graveyard. I played 2 Foxy. This was kind of like a quasi-starter. Also, sometimes like Ash or Imperm bait, so my other plays could resolve. And plus, Foxy in graveyard is really good for being able to revive it, pop face up spell cards, trap cards, etc. I played 3 Spinny. I think 3 is required because you do cycle through them. Sometimes you just have to banish a couple. I played 2 Jack Jaguar and 1 Falco as my level 4 monsters. This allowed me to sometimes make a second rank 4 on the same turn. And you'll see my rank 4 choices. I really like Falco, especially in the grind games, because it could set traps. It could also bounce Gazelle back to your hand if sometimes you aren't able to get it off a wolf, etc. So for my Salad package, I played a total of 9 cards.
Cool.
For the defensive cards, I played 3 Ash. Ash is like super strong. It's also a fire, which is relevant in the Salad deck. I played 3 Bell and 3 Imperm. The 3 Imperm is really, really good in terms of like monster negation. Monster negation is like huge.
Meaning, like, if they have a Shen Shen on board, right, you can draw it, or an Apollo on board, you can draw it.
Yeah, exactly. Shen Shen, Apollo, those kinds of cards allow you to play. I don't know why people still play into Imperm columns. This is a thing. And sometimes Imperms are really great to negate flood decks, which allow you to play. And then the interesting choice here was Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell actually won me a match to get into Top Cut, where I played Ash, and I could tell that the guy needed to play to resolve. He called by it, he called by it, and then I belled it, which normally would be a terrible play, but he just like passed. Bell's really good, and it's how we need our cards in the graveyard, so it essentially protected my graveyard. And Bell actually just, hits a lot of cards in the meta from like Nadir to Schism, and even some Drytron cards. So I felt that these defensive cards are really good. Notice there's only 9. This is Salad Heresy, but I only played 9 hand traps. For spells, I played 3 Signet Mining. And what's nice is in this build, Signet Mining has more versatility because you could mining for Gazelle, you could mining for Debug, and you could mining for Format Skipper. Since I play a total of 12 starter cards, sometimes you'll have more than 1 starter card, which allows you to have a couple of special summons before normal summons. The meta is really, how should I say, it's complicated in that sometimes you need to make 2-3 pushes to start your plays. And having extra targets for mining was really good. I also played 1-for-1 because I played Format Skipper, and this was like a 4th mining, for lack of a better term, because this essentially allowed me to get a special summon out of the way. Sometimes they just ash this, which means my debug resolve. Sometimes they ash this, which means mining resolve. If they had to ash mining, then 1-for-1 would resolve. And often when you would already have Exceed in hand, it was just like super busted. So 1-for-1 was really, really cool. I can't tell you how many times I opened up like double Jack Jaguar, and it allowed me to get a Jack engrave. And
also, one note about these cards is that one of the drawbacks with Parallel Exceed, why it hasn't been like super staple, is you kind of just have to draw it. And since it's level 8, you can't normally add it off mining, but when you're mining for Skipper, it's kind of like you're just searching Exceed.
Yeah.
So
It's really, really good in that regard. Circle, I wish there was more of this card, but we'll never have. I played an Upstart Goblin. I did not play Desires, and I'll explain to you why a little bit later. But Upstart Goblin, since you're a consistency card, I played a 39 card deck. And I also played one Monster Reborn and one Will. I hadn't played Will previously. I played it because I had a bigger Salad lineup than I usually play, so Will was good in that regard. And Monster Reborn was really, really cool when you combine it with 1-for-1 and the other starters, because you can discard Debug for like a 1-for-1 and then Reborn Debug and then trigger its effect. You could discard even if you bricked and somehow opened up extra cards, you could discard them and then just bring them back. Same thing, like if you top deck mining, you could bring back Debug and I'm sorry, if you top deck Monster Reborn, you could bring back Debug, etc. But I think Monster Reborn in combination with 1-for-1 and mining is like super, super cool. And then like the brick, I think I only draw it like 3 times all day, so it wasn't terrible. I'll put these away. And I played some purple cards. I played two counter traps and one pop 2. Just usually you side these out going second. I kind of kept this in going second a lot because I did play 2 Foxies.
Just one of the 2, right?
Yeah, just one of the 2. And having a purple card in your deck kind of ensured if you got into a grind game that, you would sort of win the war of attrition. In a weird way, I actually played 2 Salad Mirrors, so like this card didn't do much. But I always kept at least one of these in. And I feel like, this is the correct ratio to play. I don't ever felt like I needed to play more than that. And this was sort of like one of the MVPs of the day, Rivalry. It's kind of like an insane card. You could like break a PK board with just like one card. You basically force them to keep whatever card they want because they make no spell trap negates. Rivalry in combination with another card that I play in my side deck, which is Droplets, is just like an amazing combination because you could actually flip it into a board. They will usually like ultimateness it. You could chain Droplets, negate the ultimateness, and you just like OTK them. So Rivalry actually is something that I kept in going second a lot. If I knew that they weren't establishing spell trap negates, I sided it. I kept it in going second, and then I just like said pass, and then flipped Rivalry into a board and just cleared their whole board. It was really good in that regard. So this was my main deck.
Yeah, we can go extra deck next.
Yeah, let's go to extra deck. For the extra deck, I played 3 Bailings, which is kind of standard. I played the Honorary Bailings, or Almirage. I've been playing this card for a while now. You play 6 hand traps. I did anyway. Some people play more. Sometimes you just summon a hand trap and an exceed, and normally, you kind of can't do much. Here it's like full combo. So Almirage, serves really as that 4th bay, which sometimes comes up in late games to kind of get you going, or if you draw multiple hand traps and extenders, but just no Salad card to start. And I played, 3 Sunlight Wolf and 1 Leo. The Leo was awesome. You're like, why just play 1 Leo? It's like, what do you have against 2 Leos? 2 never really came up in the same chain for a couple of different reasons. Reason number 1 is you would often make like Wolf with Mirage Stalio, and you would link them away so you could kind of order some chain links to remove a back row, remove a monster, and also a hidden bonus effect of Format Skipper. Yeah. The hidden bonus effect. Sorry, I'm tired. We literally got home like at midnight last night, and I'm like, I can't drink enough coffee today. The hidden bonus effect of Format Skipper is, remember I was telling you could copy any card in your deck, so you could essentially have Wolf, summon Skipper, reveal Leo, and then summon Leo, and the Leo is effectively relinked. So you could shuffle a guy back, and you could reduce a monster to 0. So it's like uber busted because you could kind of like do 3 things on one turn. So, and then you could always put Leo back with, with Jack Jaguar. 1 Stalio, it's back at 1. This kind of makes the deck work so much better. You just, recycle your resources. You could remove monsters, etc. And then from, an OTK perspective, the basic cards are Splash Mage, Update Jammer, Transcode Talker, and and Axis Code Talker. Just one comment here is that I often would make Splash Mage and update and write into Access because this is still 8,600. Like, you don't need to do 10,600 because 8,600 still wins game. And this gives you like more food in the graveyard to at least be able to pop 3 things. Sometimes you need to pop 4 things, and then I would go into transcode. So this allows you then to pop 4 and then OTK. The other thing too is if you just go this into this and you eat a nib or something bad happens, like I call it something bad happens, transcode is still in your deck. And transcodes just requires effect monsters, not fire monsters. So you could summon transcode and you could bring back update jammer, and now they're co-linked. And a lot of cards in the format target. So sometimes just sitting on 2 untargetable monsters could just like win you the game because they're big and you can attack. So this is kind of cool. I would suggest don't burn that. My floodgate of the day was Baguska. Baguska is awesome. We tested for literally a couple of weeks and mathematically concluded that Baguska is better than Dweller through trying different combinations. I could tell you that Baguska with Counter Trap plus Ash will win you a game. And so my win con versus Drytron and those kinds of decks was get the Baguska, Counter Trap, Ash, win game. Mathematically, it takes 7 cards, the exact cards, to be able to beat that through Drytron, and they just never had it. But generally speaking, this card's really, really good. The other things versus Tri-Brigade essentially makes Zeus irrelevant because you can't Zeus under Baguska. So Baguska is really good. You can Zeus under Dweller. So Baguska was definitely a great card. And this was my draw 2 card. You notice I played Parallel Exceed. Parallel Exceed allowed me to either make Baguska if I already had a good hand, or I made Dugaris, which was instead of playing Desires, essentially. Dugaris allows you to draw 2, discard 1. Dugaris is also fire, so you could link with Dugaris, and you could shuffle Dugaris back with Wolf and use it again. So there were multiple games where I resolved them twice, so instead of drawing once, I just drew 2 cards each time. It's a really good card, and I highly recommend you include it in your lineup.
Awesome. So we can go into the side now.
Okay. For the side deck, we'll get an alphabetical order. We'll go with C. I am a C player at best. Just kidding. So I played Contact C. Contact C is a really good card. It's quite versatile. Most of us think of it just like in a prank matchup or in a Tri-Brigade matchup. I actually used it in my salad mirrors because usually when you drop C, they just make like Phoenix Pass. Not everybody plays Heda, so this is kind of like comical. Think about where you could side this. It's probably better than you think. I played 3 Nibiru in my side. I didn't want to main it. Really wasn't that kind of format. I did sided. I saw it once in the game. I saw 2 copies and I could never resolve it because the guy bricked, which was kind of like a meme. So I never actually resolved Nibiru. Kind of funny, but it was in my deck. I played 3 Droplets. This card is like really, really good. To be honest, I kind of suck at using it, but I got better over the last 2 weeks. This is like a really high skill card. I think the reality is people who don't like this card were like me. They just don't know how to use it. I was walking around tables and I saw so many people just like shotgun Droplet without waiting for their opponent to activate effect, without activating a spell, waiting for them to negate, sending away your own spell. It's a really high skill card, but this kind of wins you Drytron matchups because, you know, you activate a card, they herald, you chain Droplet, negate herald, and you just, you know, attack for game. I played 3 evenly. Now the reason why I chose evenly matched is because the style of this deck, after I kind of wiped their board, I could establish board presence, and it's really difficult for them to get through that board presence. Also, I know some people that were at the event that were playing set 5 pass. So I think if I got rid of their judge, I would be fine. It's really difficult for us to play through like an IDP and those kinds of cards. And the other thing is that, like I said, people aren't really playing spell trap negation. So if you play, you know, kind of the boards that just spit out a huge board with lots of monsters, you just evenly then establish board presence and win the game.
Nice.
And then I played 2 Twin Twisters, so I did play these cards. I know people at these events play mine, so you have to have Twin Twisters for that. The second thing, there are decks in the format not to be mentioned that require you to activate their cards in the main phase. This allows you to essentially activate it in draw phase and get rid of those cards. And I chose Twin over Cosmic because sometimes they have multiples of them, right? So you want to kind of get rid of them early and then play your game. And then everybody's favorite card, Imperial Order. Great card. I sided it going first. Never saw it. Can't tell you if it was good or bad. I didn't play any striker matches where it would have mattered anyway. But the card was in my list.
Apparently, it's not good enough to get banned. So
Yeah. And my joke is my list won't change by even one card.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's my list.
Any final thoughts on the event?
The event was awesome. I want to give a shout out to the whole team at Endangered Hobbies, Richie and gang. You guys do an awesome job putting up with 120 people in an event, plus lots of spectators, and still be able to run your store and conduct business is amazing. You kept the venue safe, clean. The bathrooms work really great, and for anybody that's been to Yu-Gi-Oh events, you know that's like a huge bonus. You guys even brought like a giant water cooler, which made sure that we always had fresh water, which was amazing. I want to give a shout out to people in the New England area. There were 8 teams in Top Cut, and 4 of them were people from our locals area, which is like really awesome. And I actually want to thank Noah. He's filming this video. He put up with me over the previous month developing this deck list and debating with him until at least 2 in the morning. So thank you for your help.
Awesome. Thanks.